sold out their people. Black 10 leaders, 10 black leaders who sold out the black community. Stay on the lookout for that video. That video will be coming soon. Come before this month is over with. I can't wait to actually create this video because I've been taking notes, and I'm gonna, I'm not gonna say any names right now, but you're gonna see what I'm talking about when when I say that we have been duped, we've been tricked, and we can no longer just want to sing and protest, "We shall overcome," because George Floyd was killed while they were recording him, and the guy stood on his neck, and he knew he was going to kill him. As a matter of fact, I think he did that. He had to kill George Floyd. It could have been some sort of ritual, some sort of rite of passage. I don't know, but for him to do it the way he did, these people have in their laws, police officers, in their laws to go after black people, whether you're driving, whether you're walking, and the president's not gonna save us, the police not gonna save us. We gotta save ourselves. And I realized that it was up to us if we're gonna save ourselves, and why I started the first Black on Black Crime Solutions panel. From day one, I realized the situation, I analyzed it. I may not have all the books and scholarly degrees people like Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Francis Chris Welsing may have, but I do have the knowledge, and I do have a voice, and I'm using my voice to do something about it. 1 out of every 3 black men will be in prison. 1 out of every 3. I already told you what the stats was on the suicide rate amongst black kids. It's not going to get any lighter, especially right now with this epidemic that we in. Because parents are losing their jobs, they're putting a stress out release on their kids, and these kids are being forced to do other things to get money. Unfortunately, some kids are even forced to be in prostitution. I read a story of some woman who, which it very disturbing. As she's sleeping with other men as a prostitute, she had her daughter, not even 10 years old. She had her daughter joining a threesome with the Johns she's sleeping with. That's the kind of sick minds that we have in this country. So we can't afford to sit back and be like, you know what, this problem's too big, we can't do nothing about it. Let the government, let the police deal with it. No, we gotta take it back to like Sankofa. We gotta go back. We gotta go back from where we returned so we can move forward. Go back and help some people, and so we can move forward. A situation I just read about the other day, dealing with our black men. This, you know what I'm saying? And the police was there. This guy allowed his baby girl, infant, maybe 3-4 months old, 6 months old, in the car, die because he didn't want to break because the girl locked in the car, the baby girl locked in the car, the AC on. He let her die. Black man let his baby die because he didn't want to break the windows of his car. Our values are wrong. We are valuing materials instead of valuing life. Why do you think it's so easy to roll up and blast, kill a brother or throw him under the bus? Because we don't value our lives, so we're not going to value the next person's lives. The Willie Lynch curse is still upon us. Post-traumatic slave syndrome. Dr. Gross, she talks about it. She wrote a great book about it. We're still suffering from these things. And we will need some counseling, some therapy, and things of that nature. But in the meantime, if you're not going to do anything, help somebody who's doing something. You may not want to donate $1 to Courage to Believe, which is cool. You may not want to volunteer. You may not want to, you may not even want to help your own kids. Okay, it is what it is. But help somebody who's trying to do something, who's doing something, who's been doing something. Some of us just need a little support, a little words of encouragement. But we barely get that. Why is that? Because we're too busy looking the other way or licking the slave master boots. Now, with reparations, there's been some advancement in reparations, I must say. Thank God for that. There's been some progress in us getting reparations. And California even started a study group to figure out how they're going to distribute the funds to help with reparations for slavery. Since the 40 acres and a mule, this 40 acres and a mule, they said they're going to give us that since what, 1865, 1866? After the Civil War, we still haven't gotten it. But just two years ago, 2018, by a guy named Mr. Brown, his great grandfather, and I'm going to pull up his exact name. His great grandfather, named is Elijah Brown, was able to have a certificate that General Sherman had wrote. Field Order 15 was to give 40 acres and a mule to 18,000 freed former slaves. We're not slaves. We were enslaved. Okay. Now, this was passed in 1865 that they were going to give us this. They never gave it to us. But just 2 years ago, Mr. Brown, which is the great-grandson of Elijah Brown, was able to win by the Supreme Court with a vote of from 5 to 4 to win and to give him 40 acres and a mule. Now, this is one person out of 18,000. And it said that possibly there were supposed to be 120 Black Americans, or direct descendants of the former enslaved Africans here in the United States. So they're looking to see how they're going to go about this. If you want to know more information, go to the NAACP website to get more information about how they're going to go about getting reparations. As a matter of fact, they're trying to sue right now, class action lawsuit against the government to make sure that this happens. But get this, now this is 2018 that they had passed it 2 years ago. Now, the Supreme Court only voted a vote of 5 to 4. There's 9 people in the Supreme Court, if I'm not mistaken. So it was a vote of 5 to 4. This is a narrow, very narrow win. What I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, they did not want to give us, did not want to give Mr. Brown this victory. They wanted to actually not pass the 40 acres and a mule, not honor what they said that they were going to do 154 years ago. But now that we had that victory, with possibly more victories. Right now I'm working on a press release and I'm going to kind of jump off topic for a little bit, but follow where I'm going. Right now they have this woman named Amy Barrett, right? She's right now, they're going through confirmation of her being inducted into the Supreme Court, which is a big deal, you know what I mean? Because they won't be going through all these interviews with congressmen and Donald Trump, wanted her. He elected her to be the next Supreme Court justice to take place of the woman that had died about a month ago, who was the former Supreme Court judge. Supreme Court. Those of you who don't know, when you remember Supreme Court, you remember Supreme Court for a lifetime. These people not only make 6 figures. And let me see how much they make salary. I believe it's they get tons of benefits. Wow. Okay. Supreme Court justices make $265,000 a year, and the Chief Justice gets $277,000 a year, and they all get a $400,000 signing bonus. $277,000 a year. So this is a big deal. But even though this is 2020, y'all, 2018, they didn't even want to pass something that they know they owe us. Rosewood. Those of you who are not familiar with Rosewood, back in January 1923 in Levi County, is a small town called Rosewood. It's a great movie that features Esther. How can I can't remember her name right now. Esther Rose. Is it Esther Rose from Good Times? Is that her name? There's a street in my grandma's neighborhood named after her, so I should know her name. As a matter of fact, she still owns the house. But anyway, she stars in that movie with Van Ryan. Who else plays in that movie? Can't remember the rest of the actors, black actors, but great movie. It depicts the story of what happened in Rosewood. A black man was accused of doing something with a white lady, which he never did. and they burnt down the whole town. They reportedly, it's recorded only 8 people died, but truth be told, it's closer to 200 black people died within the whole Rosewood thing. And only until 1990, now this happened in 1923, 70 years later, in 1993, they ended up passing reparations. So this is actually one of the first cases of reparations for black people. Now they already gave the Chinese people reparations from when they had encamped them during World War II. Was it World War I or World War II? They got their reparations quick. Jewish people get reparations from the U.S. and Germany, and the Holocaust didn't even happen here in the United States. But as a black people, and I'm trying to build a case here so you guys understand how much they don't care about us. It was in 1993 that they gave $150,000 to each surviving member. I don't know how many members survived, but $150,000 for those who died or their relatives who survived from the whole Rosewood incident, which was a tragic scene. I mean, I read a couple articles. I mean, people had the kids had to hide. Black kids had to hide every day. Every day. Nothing to eat. Afraid of the KKK or just racist white men and women who are out there stoning, shooting, and setting them on fire. They call it the Week of Horror. Speaking of Halloween coming up, this was a true living horror story. And it goes on and on and on. We have, you ever heard the Gap Band? Which stands for Greenwood, Archer, and Pine, which is the main streets of the Greenwoods district in Tulsa, Oklahoma, what we call today Black Wall Street. Now, Black Wall Street, many of you guys might have heard it in rap songs or videos, because this is, it's very, very huge, big and tragic story. In May 31st, 1931, and Black Wall Street, Oklahoma was formed because, and just to go a little history here, it was formed when black folks couldn't live in the main city in the southern part of Tulsa. I'm saying Oklahoma. It's Tulsa, Arkansas. Forgive me for that. And so they had to move towards the northern part of Tulsa. They couldn't live in the south. They had to live in the north. And what they had to end up doing, they ended up building their own town. They couldn't use they better even use the bathrooms when it was in the white neighborhood. All you can do is come to the southern part of Tulsa where all the big jobs were at to only work and go home. You couldn't shop. You couldn't buy nothing to eat. You couldn't go to school. You couldn't go to the doctor. You couldn't even get on a bus. And if you did get on a bus, it's wait. The few buses that let you get on, you had to sit in the back. Now this is in the 20s. And so what they ended up doing was the residents, okay, since we can't do anything with the white folks, let's build for ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Let's build something that we can use. So they started, the first thing they did was start a corner store. People can buy toiletries, they could buy basic necessities, little groceries and things like that. So the entrepreneurial spirit that black people have been blessed with, like I said at the beginning of this video, we are blessed with tons of intelligence. We are blessed with creativity. And obviously we look good. We got the finest women in the world and the most handsome men in the world. I am evidence of that. You're looking at me, tall, dark, and handsome. You can't see me standing, but, this is what's in our DNA. So what they started to do from that corner store, they built some more stores. They built their own hospitals. Built their own schools, 2 schools, built their own theaters. There were 108 black-owned businesses that they built literally from the ground up. Just like this pyramid. Literally from the ground up. And from there, black doctors was in the building, black attorneys came in the building, doing their thing, and very prosperous, rich. Now, what a lot of history, the videos don't tell you, that Tulsa was rich because of the oil. So, but then they realized, even though they didn't give us anything, we were able to be self-sufficient and self-reliant on ourselves. And we just started prospering. And so the white folks noticed us in our own cars and our own bus line, even our own airline, our own airplanes. Like, we were doing it because we had no choice. Which gets me to the point of what I'm trying to say right now. We have no choice, black people. We have no choice but to love ourselves, to support ourselves, to get back to what made cities like Atlanta and Chicago and Harlem and Houston and Dallas and LA and Compton. What made these cities so strong? Gary, Indiana. What made these cities so strong is that we were united, and if we had an issue within our community, we dealt with it. So if there was a child molester in the community, we didn't call the police. We dealt with that buster with our own justice. However they dealt with it, some people probably killed them, some people probably just tied him up or castrated him. But we set examples and we dealt with it. If there was a young man who was out there robbing and stealing, guess what? We dealt with them with our own justice. If there was someone who needed to go to school, guess what? We dealt with that young student and got them to school, got them the funds they needed to go to college. That's why people like Booker T. Washington started the Tuskegee Institute. People like the Black Titan, Gaskin. I can't think of his first name, but Gaskin. You know, up there in Mississippi, he ended up building his own hotels. They wanted nobody in Mississippi, Alabama, get in hotel rooms. So he built his own hotels. They wouldn't even let us bear our own people. So you know what happened? He ended up starting his own funeral home, his own mortuary. This is what we do. This is what we do, and this is what we need to do right now, 2020, moving to 2021. And I'm gonna get you the exact. I want you guys to get this book. If you guys are book readers, read this book about. I'm gonna get his name here, Mr. Gaskin. It's called Black Titan. It's a book that I have. It's in one of my bookcases. A.G. Gaston. No, I couldn't think of his first name because I never knew his first name. He all went by initials. A.G. Gaston. Get the book called The Black Titan. Read about his entrepreneurship. He's one of the first black millionaires in the country. The great things Mr. Gaston was doing. Started his own insurance school with his wife, Minnie Gaskin. And where it was flooded with students because these black kids couldn't go to school nowhere else. So he started a school, an insurance school, and just built other millionaires. Just like Annie did, who was Madam C.J. Walker's mentor. So we must become self-reliant because what happened in Black Wall Street, they burned down 1,200 homes. 1,200 homes were burnt down. Why is that? Why did they burn down 1,200 homes in Black Wall Street? Because they always hated us. That song by the Gap Band, they dropped a bomb on me. That was a true story. They literally dropped fire bombs in the air. And reparations has not yet even been met. Hundreds of people were killed and shot, killed, burnt alive. There's a show right now called, what's the name of the show? Lovecraft. Lovecraft is probably one of the best shows I've ever seen in a very long time. So my opinion, it's better than, and dare me for saying this, Game of Thrones. Because it goes into our history. It has sci-fi, black history. It goes into what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let me make sure. Tulsa, Oklahoma. I don't know. I was saying it right the whole time. It goes into that. It goes into the injustices going on in Chicago and around the country. But it depicts the last episode, which was episode 7, either 7 or 8, depicts what they called back at the time Little Africa on Fire.
9.
Episode 9. They totally annihilated the town, mass graves, and our people so strong and resilient, they even started building immediately right after. It was $1 million in damages, which is possibly $1 billion in today's numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you guys, hopefully I want to say this in closing. I'm tired of seeing these Emmett Till stories, because that's what Trayvon Martin, Freddie Gray, Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin. All these stories are Emmett Till stories, Emmett Till songs. We have a black wealth of $1.2 trillion up until 2020. Well, up until March 2020. Let me say that. $1.2 trillion. There is no way, there is no way whatsoever we should be struggling, because we should have been able to buy our own schools. Dr. Umar Johnson been trying to raise up $1 million for how long? 5-6 years now, maybe longer. Ever since before I even known who he was, before I started working with him directly, he been trying to raise $1 million to start the Marcus Garvey Frederick Douglass Academy. $1.2 trillion, and God knows how many NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball players we have, professional athletes in soccer, black athletes we have around the world. There's no way he shouldn't have had $1 million already. And support to make sure that $1 million is used efficiently to pay for the supplies, pay for the teachers and the salaries and the property. We should have 100 schools like that around the country. Shout out to the Marcus Garvey School up there in Chicago, and the other black schools here. There's one here in Georgia. I can't think of the name, but the lady has a black school here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to be speaking at her school coming pretty soon. COVID or not, I wear a mask. But we have the money and power. Black people, we spend $2 billion on Jordans, $20 billion on hair care, $4 billion on liquor. Come on, we could do better than that. We way better than that. There shouldn't be no reason why we should be struggling singing the same songs we've been singing for the past 20, 30 years, ladies and gentlemen. Let's help one another, help each other. We're in a time where we can't afford to just sit back and be like, I'm going to just watch this on social media, or good luck to this person or that person. There are thousands of black organizations like Courage to Be International, which is the name of our organization, trying their best to do what they can from their own bank accounts. That's what me and the mentors who started the program, the board members, that's what we did. We used our own money. We didn't depend on fundraising. We didn't depend on grants, or before we even got the 501c3. We used our own money, our own sweat and tears and sweat equity to make sure that we had a C2B chess program, the Black on Black Crime Solutions panel. We will be doing more and more of these panels, virtual panels, more often. Next time I do this panel, it will be several professional people in different entities. Mental health, we did mental health last year. Shout out to the beloved community church, Pastor Slaughter, Dr. Slaughter. Thank you for allowing us to use your church. That year we had the mental health awareness. So we're going to get some mental health people, because we need to deal with the issue of the mind. We're going to have more mentors, doctors, police officers, hopefully a congressman. Before John Lewis died this year, I wrote him a letter, and he, not knowing he's sick in bed, because they didn't make that news public, as far as I didn't know. And he's sick in bed, and I hope that he got my letter before he died. And, you know, who knows if he's seen it or not, but he literally died the following week. But he would have been, had he been alive, I would have had that panel with him on it today. Because true leaders like that who paved the way for us, they understand real, recognize real. So I'm gonna make, I want to say this, this our oath before I leave, and definitely thank for everybody who tuned in, who stayed tuned in with us today. I want to read this oath. This is what the students read every day of the program. Every day of the program. I kind of tweaked it a little bit for this one program that I was speaking at, to make it more, there's no confusion that this was a pro-black, oath, but this is the original oath, and you can see this oath on our website, thecouragetobelieve.com. Again, thanks for your support, and thanks in advance for your donations. The oath. I am a queen, I am a king. We are all royalty with great history and a brighter future. I love my African culture and will respect other cultures as long as it doesn't disrespect mind. I'll be positive as I can be. And I understand that things will not always go as planned, but I plan on being successful. I care about my community, and my community cares about me. I will help my brother, and I will help my sister by any righteous means necessary. If I fall, it won't be forever, because my mentor will help me rise up even better than before. I have the will and shall find a way. Nothing is impossible for those that believe in God, the creator of all things. The courage to believe. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure sharing this afternoon with you all. I'm sure you guys have a lot of the things you have going on. And I want to say this, and I didn't get a chance to say it earlier, in regards to reparations. Reparations is not just for those our African American ancestors here in the States, but for our Africans who were enslaved around the world. So our ancestors who were enslaved around the world, this is for the 14 countries in Haiti, 14 countries, including Haiti, who are being enslaved economically by France right now as we speak. In Africa today, those who don't know, there's 14 countries, Togo, Benin, and 12 other ones. Right now as we speak are being exploited by France. Right now as we speak, they're paying $500 million right now a year to the French Treasury. Bukano Safu is another one, who was started by Thomas Sankara, who changed the name to Bukano Safu, which means upright man. The blueprints of people like former President Thomas Sankara, which is a country in West Africa, we need to follow. Toussaint Louverture, who was a Haitian leader of the Haitian Revolution, who defeated the French back in 1804. The press release I'm getting ready to release, God willing, it's my spirit to release it next week. So I'm hoping that I really go ahead and do it. It's about a painting that I purchased. The very tall painting, 72 by 48, of the European father of white supremacy, Napoleon Bonaparte. Huge, beautiful painting that I'm going to be selling. Hopefully get $100,000 for it. Now it's not valued at $100,000. I will make that known. It's not valued at that. I just got the appraisal of it. So I'm a little disappointed of the value of that painting. But what it represents means a lot more than what it's worth. So we're using that painting to raise funds, not only for the schools in Haiti, reparations for the children of Haiti who have to pay for their education, but also for the funding of getting the Rosette Pierre Creative Arts Center here in Atlanta, Georgia. So follow me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, my YouTube, obviously. Subscribe to my YouTube if you haven't subscribed yet. Please share this video. Even if you just caught this the tail end of this video, please share this video. We have a lot of work to do, and we can do it. We're going to win. There's no doubt about it. We are going to win because we are resilient, strong people. It's in our DNA. But the only way we will win if we unite, do what the Haitians did back in 1791 to 1803 to win independence in 1804. Not to wait for the oppressor to tell them you're free, you're independent, that you're strong and you're beautiful. We did it ourselves. If they can do it, we can do it. Now I leave y'all with this. Stay blessed and highly favored. Much love. This is King Kevin. It's been a pleasure. Bye.